who works for the UN, studied human rights and humanitarian studies at Sciences Po, and is now at UNPO specializing on the Middle East and particularly the Kurdish question. So please, Brian, take the floor.
Thank you. Thank you for that excellent and very informative speech. I just wanted to have you elaborate more on the international context for this. So ecological mismanagement is clearly a pressing issue and an existential one in the southern Azerbaijan case. You articulated this, and you also articulated this is not unique in Iran or the world. For example, the destruction of forests with the Mapuche in Chile is another example of how ecological mismanagement can be terrible for indigenous communities or minority groups or unrepresented people. So without appropriate representation, as you made very clear in your speech, at a national level, as is the case with South Azerbaijan, or at an international level, as you can see with global warming, for example. People who are unrepresented, minorities and indigenous people are disproportionately affected and are particularly vulnerable for these negative consequences of ecological mismanagement. So then, is self-determination the only answer? You made clear in your speech that you think that international cooperation is a good thing and that there should be more support for grassroots movement in southern Azerbaijan, and I completely agree, and that's absolutely correct. However, would you agree with more international cooperation? Could you elaborate on this with other nations and peoples and groups around the world who face similar situations? You elaborated that in Iran this would be the case, but would it make sense to do this in a worldwide atmosphere? For example, this very forum that we have now is a good example of this, where we can spread ideas and address this problem that people face together. Could you elaborate more on international cooperation with regards to the specific case? Thank you.
Thank you for a very good question. There are two parts of this. First of all, we have Lake Urmia, and what kind of cooperation and what kind of a help do we need to solve that issue. And then we have the issue of self-determination for the nations and the ethnicities in Iran. If we look at the situation with Lake Urmia, it's very important to know that this is not a national concern for just Azerbaijani Turks. If you look at the map on the opposite side, you see the map over Kurdistan, and you see that the regions that is also West Azerbaijan is also in that map Kurdistan. So this means that this is a very sensitive issue also for the Kurds. And as I said, if the salt travels within 500 radars, well, which countries will be affected? Well, that's Iran, that's Turkey, that's Iraq, that's Azerbaijan, that's Georgia, that's Armenia. So obviously the first cooperation should be between these countries. And now that we don't have it, I believe that it's the international community's responsibility to not only press upon Iran, but also the neighboring countries to react and to press Iran also, because we know that when this question comes up in the media and in international organizations, then they try to do something about it. They start to talk about it. They start to negotiate over, can we take water from the Caspian Sea also to Lake Urmia, and so on and so on. So bringing light on the issue actually can do a lot. And as I said, we only have weeks before it's completely dried out, and then only a year before the salt storms will occur. So I believe that this should be one of the top issues on the UN meetings, on the European Parliament's meetings. This should be one of the top issues, especially now that we have ISIS and other issues in the region, because we are talking about 15 million people being directly affected by the salt storms. 15 million people. Where are these people going to go? You cannot live under salt storms. And with the salt being radioactive, you will not be able to use the earth afterwards. You will not be able to grow anything on the earth. So what will happen with this region when these salt storms will occur? It's not a question of if, it's a question of when it will occur. So that's the one part of it. The other one is the issue of self-determination for the different nations, and in this South Azerbaijan, in Iran. I believe that it would be very hard for the international community to create a solution for that issue directly. That's why I said that they should just support the grassroots movements. This is something that we need to do within Iran with the different nationalities, with the different ethnicities. And the first step is obviously a democratical structure. I do not believe that Rouhani will be so democratic that he will just arrange for free elections. So we need to press them into doing so. And in that, I believe that the international embargoes is a key role, and that is something that we need to press even more in order to make Rouhani act and to bring a platform where the other ethnicities and the other groups can try to solve the issue of self-determination in Iran. Yes.
Very eloquent. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that answer. And please, for the audience, take your questions and try already prepare for the plenary debate, because there's so many issues, and it would be really interesting if we can tease out a number of the core contradictions and puzzles that we are able perhaps to discuss later. But before we go to do that, I want to give the floor to our last speaker, Dr. Shutararam Nadaraja, who will speak on behalf.
Answer also. The movement that you're referring to, 2009-2010, the one that is referred to as the Green Movement in Iran, was supported initially by all groups in Iran and also the Azerbaijani Turks, especially the student movement that we are cooperating with. But due to them not being able to even grant us one of our wishes, they were not willing to even, talk about the ethnical issues. They were not even prepared to commit to, telling us that yes, after we have created this change in Iran, you will have the ability to have your mother tongues in school. They will not even commit to this. And this is something that has occurred to us before. As I said, we have had several revolutions in Iran, and we have supported several fights with the other groups as well, with the Kurds and so on. And always we have had the same result. They get the shift of power, the Islamic Revolution, 79, the Pahlavi, and so on. And when they get in power, we get forgotten. So yes, that is the reason why we didn't support it. And because we didn't support it, the Green Revolution was not successful. For a reform to be successful in Iran, all the groups, especially the Azerbaijani Turks, must support it, and we have to work together, just as you said.
Other questions?
Nasser?
Bonsoir et merci beaucoup. Good evening and thanks to all. Je voulais poser une question sur les deux, les Kurdes et les Tamouls.
I want to ask a question concerning the Kurdish and Tamil issues.
En quoi l'internationalisation de leur lutte apporte quelque chose sur le terrain et comment sont exploitées les opportunités, comme par exemple au Kurdistan aujourd'hui, qui sont sollicitées par les puissances internationales pour les aider contre l'État islamique.
Two things. In what way does the internationalization of their struggle help or influence their struggle on the ground? And two, how does the internationalization of this struggle and how does their position within, with regard to the international community, affect their struggle against the Islamic State?
Et par rapport au Tamoul, quel est l'apport de la diaspora, puisque les tigres tamouls sont vaincus sur le terrain? Est-ce que la diaspora n'est pas une autre issue de secours pour le peuple tamoul? Merci beaucoup.
And with regards to the Tamil situation, in what way does the defeat of 2009 influence the diasporic nature of the Tamil community? And in what way is that diasporic identity capable of offering a home for the Tamils after the defeat of 2009?
So I would like to start